we've been testing this and then also scaling it. Last 14 days, we spent 91% up, and we can see we're like 2% up in costs, 22% down in costs. I mean, we basically added 80 AGs and all this stuff's going good. What we've identified is that Andromeda has a very specific way that it likes to optimize, which is...
Hello and welcome to the Perpetual Traffic Podcast. This is your host, Ralph Burns, founder and CEO of Tier 11, not alongside my amazing co-host, Lauren E. Petrillo, this week, because we are doing a clip from episode 57 of the Ad Lab Live. And we've done this many times here on the show, where we have episodes that we've done on these Ad Labs that are so great. I think to myself, as we're recording it, I've got to put this over on Perpetual Traffic. If you are not tuning in every Friday, 2:30 Eastern, I highly recommend that you do so. Head on over to tier11.com/YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and you'll actually see this stuff going live. We don't repurpose every single Friday, only the best ones that I think are most relevant to this audience here that listens to this show. 250,000 of you every single month, which we really do appreciate you tuning in each week. And I think it's largely because we're actually doing this stuff. We are not just theorizing how these things work, we're actually going out and doing it. And John, fortunately, as a member of the Tier 11 staff here, has been testing actually with his own money and his own businesses since early part of this year, even before anyone was talking about the Meta Andromeda update. Now you see blog posts, you see videos of it all over the internet. But back in early part of this year, nobody was doing it. So we feel like we're about 10 months ahead of everyone else in testing this stuff, which is probably the reason that you listen to this show, to get these cutting edge strategies. So we've spent over $10 million on the Meta Andromeda update right now and are finding new things every single week. That's the key with all of this. And when John tests it in his own sort of business accounts and then brings that over to Tier 11, it allows us to be able to scale businesses faster than they ever could. And what we found is that with the Meta Andromeda update, there is a lot of things that you need to do as a media buyer and a strategist that are counter to how you would do things prior. And I mean, this one here today is probably one of the most important lessons that we've learned. John has learned this firsthand and is passing it on to you here. So there's an old maxim that everyone's heard inside the media buying world, is to cut your losers and let your winners run. Or, as I like to say, I probably stole this one from Perry Belcher, starve the ponies, feed the stallions. Not very popular with the horse crowd, obviously. But the point is when you go into your ad account and you see one ad that has $8,000 in spend and one conversion, you usually would say, oh, I need to pause that. Well, what we show today is that's actually the complete opposite of what you should be doing. So in the Andromeda era, that rule can actually kill your performance. And we're going to go through this here today in today's episode, which is really exciting. So if you're listening to this, I highly recommend that you go over and watch this over on our YouTube channel, perpetualtraffic.com/YouTube. Check it out there. And of course, tune into the Ad Labs every Friday at 2:30 Eastern. Because in this episode, we break down why CPA in-app is no longer a reliable metric, and how sequencing and spend-based models reveal the real winners, and why pausing those bad ads might be the fastest way to wreck your scaling. So if you've killed an ad too early in the Meta Andromeda update and you're having results that are going sideways, this is probably the reason why. So we also talk about the meta algorithm here, why UGC creative and creative diversification is so vitally important. And it all works with these strategies together. So we tie all that in with Tier 11 Data Suite. Now, for those of you who have been struggling to nail down this new way of doing things for the Meta Andromeda update, you are not alone. And we have designed an offer specifically for you. If you say, all right, this is all great, I can get my team to do this, but I'd rather have somebody do this, somebody who's been figuring this out for 10, 11 months now. Well, we've got an offer for you here today. And this is for you, the Perpetual Traffic listener. We have not released this to the general audience. as of yet, we are offering a buy one, get two free offer for you through the end of this year, through the end of 2025. We're sneak peeking this just to you, the perpetual traffic listener. You can actually buy the creative diversification package, which is 30 plus ad creatives every single month using those 10 different ad types, which John and I talk about on this show here today, as well as many shows in the past. But you'll get the media buying and the tier 11 data suite for free. So you buy the creative, you get the media buying, and you get the tier 11 data suite for free. So this is for you, the perpetual traffic listener. We don't even have a sales page set up for this as of yet, but we're going to be offering this starting November 1st for the generalized audience. So if you are fast acting and you want to get this stuff done right now and set yourself up for success in the end of 2025 and into 2026, head on over to tier11.com/apply today. Fill in the application because we're only doing 11 of these through the end of the year. That's all we have capacity for. Once again, it's buy the creative diversification package, which we've talked about here on the show many times, and get the media buying and the tier 11 data suite for free. Check it out over at tier11.com/apply. So without further ado, let's get to John and myself. We talk about the biggest mistake that you're probably making with the Meta Andromeda update and how to fix it here today by not pausing your ads.
We're doing some crazy Wolverine kind of shit today on today's Ad Lab.
That's right.
Sequencing, huh?
Yes. So good. I love
so good.
sequencing.
Andromeda is like the coolest thing. I was just explaining this to a would-be client of ours, which hopefully does become a client. They actually have a great business, but it's like they're not doing Andromeda. They're not doing what we talk about every single week. I'm like, sorry to say it, but like you need that. And they've got a great creative team. So the strategists could just like tell them all the 10 different types of ads to do, and boom, we create Andromeda and magic happens.
Yeah.
But he said this, and this is going to be interesting. He said, cut the losers and let the winners run, which is fine unless you're in the Andromeda world, because it's not necessarily, they're not necessarily equated, which I know you showed an example last week of like one ad that had like all the ad spend, but only one conversion, but it was leading to an overall global NCAC for all the ads well within the range that client wanted. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing, like kind of almost like across the board. It's actually really interesting what we're seeing now. It's just so good. It's so interesting. I'm just going to dive right in because it's hard to kind of like summarize unless I use I'm very visual, so I can't explain. I'm like an Italian that's handcuffed. I guess speech impediment, because I can't talk.
I think you are part Italian because like you need, but if Italians needed screen shares, you would be Italian. Italian
Right.
screen share like this. Yeah.
It's my this is screen share.
Perfect.
So you'll notice there's no ad sets or campaigns mentioned in the entirety of the Andromeda model, which is so funny. I love it. This part here, I'm kind of we've been following this very, very closely for many accounts. And to summarize what we're about to explain, these two things here, you got user requests and you got ads corpus. This is everybody in Meta. This is your ads. And through a basically 3-step process, Meta is going to find what is resonating. And this portion right here looks like a big old, the hierarchical model is like a big old gobbledygook. Like it just looks like, okay, cool. The spaghetti is getting smaller. Like that's basically what this looks like here. What this is signaling is we're testing different ads, different creatives, different users, different targetings, and we're getting the sequence more streamlined. So when it says cut your losers, let your winners run, the losers are not CPA defined. Like, in my opinion, and you correct me if I'm wrong, when they say cut the losers and let the winners run, you probably heard that from a CPM perspective, or it's like a CPA perspective. It's typically how people say, well, a winner must be in CPA. But again, right, in a hierarchical model where you have, sometimes if you follow this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I missed one, but 7, 8, basically how those users are moving through the ad sequencing. If they click and buy, it could be on the first one before they retarget them. It could be on the second one before, or like after they got hit with the first one. You only get one checkbox out of all of these here that says that this is running. This is why I've always said since day one, focus on spend, don't focus on CPA. Attribution model is poor. Spend model is actually 100% accurate because it's being spent on. So when we look at this thing, we say, okay, well, that sounds cool, but tell me how that works. Like, show me like how this is working. So inside of our own campaign, we've been testing this and then also scaling it. Last 14 days, we spent 91% up, and we can see we're like 2% up in costs, 22% down in costs, 12% up in costs. I mean, we basically added 80 AGs, and it's just up. Like, nice. Chef's kiss. All the stuff's going good.
Perfect.
But it's not necessarily what's funny about this is when you look at the spend. Let me just take off the last 14 days here. If we look at the spend descending and you look at the CPA, it's like, well, John, that one's better than that one. That one's better than that one. That one's better than that one. Like, this one here, and this one here. John, these are doing better. Like, if you look at, like, you got a 263 compared to a 279. You got a 251 compared to 279. This one actually is something that we're reiterating, the SID with Red Boost. And it's like, man, you got a 661. That's pretty terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So why are you not spending more on those? Why are you still spending on that? And this is where CPA is a poor judge of performance. We don't.
That's exactly what we were talking about.
Bingo. Thank you. Now,
yep.
Here's using the Tier 11 data suite. I'll explain why. And it becomes so freaking clear using Tier 11 data suite on how to identify the sequencing moving through. Okay. Now, total leads.
We've never shown this before.
I know.
This way. This is exciting.
New. It's exciting.
New. Listen to us nerding out on this. But
when you cook in the meth lab, there's no shortage of energy. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's right there because it's
chaos. Chaos comes with it, but lots of energy and lots of methamphetamine. So keeps going.
So
net and bang.
That's true. Well, that's basically my meth. So legal.
It's all good.
Yep. So more energy, less jail. It's great. So total leads inside of here is signifying add to carts. And that is just what we have to all just agree on, that when it says total leads, this isn't lead gen. This is how this is identified by like begin checkouts. Like, we have their information. They're beginning to check out. So when you have the add to carts, you're thinking about, or when you have the leads, you have like your beginning checkouts, you add to carts, like you're moving into the next stage after the click.
Do you have that labeled that way specifically?
No, that's just a default.
It's just a default. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so it's just a default. So basically, it's like that's how we're optimizing it. So here's what we look at is, okay, so we got Clarence. And Clarence is doing okay. All right. So remember, we highlighted the ones that are working well. Sid delivers more. This one was doing so terrible. Sid with Red Boost, man, that was doing bad. That one, Sid with Red Boost was like 664.
Yep.
Terrible.
Yep.
So when we're looking through all of these, what we have to notice is while we're highlighting, I'll group them together. This is the group here, and this is a group here. Let's just use these. Let's, oh, you know what? I'll do it this way. I found colors inside of here. So this one is green. These two are green, and I'll make these two, we'll make them blue, so that we can identify the differences between them. So you got two different groups. The green group is UGC. The blue group is non-UGC. They're product highlights. What we've identified is that Andromeda has a very specific way that it likes to optimize, which is showing all ads to all users and developing the sequence of what needs to see first, second, third, fourth. On top of that matrix, you're layering in your pain points, your hooks, your offers. So you're trying to basically have product market fit. That's all you're doing when you're doing that with creative.
Right.
So, but not everyone is going to see everything first, second, third, fourth. Not everyone's going to click the first, second, third, fourth. Not everyone's going to buy from the first, second, third, fourth and click. So we have to identify what is the trends of analysis that we're doing on the users. And you're going to notice that in the green, and I'm not going to use the same color green because I'm not that good in selecting RGB wheels, but you're going to be able to see that this has some fairly good amount of cold traffic. You got 63, 77, 71.
Yep.
And then in the bottom row, about the same, 70, 74. Okay, good. Now, you're going to also notice...
New visit percentage, by the way.
Yes,
really
new
high.
visit percentage. Exactly.
60 to 70%. Like, that's really good. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
That's actually very good. That's a hefty amount of cold traffic in terms of Metaland.
Correct.
But you see the blue is in the 40s. So now you're seeing, okay, more first-time visitors on UGC, more second-time visitors on the product ads. Okay, so we're starting to establish a trend. Now let's dive a little bit deeper into that trend. Now the first trend that we're going to notice is, okay, how many clicks before how many add to carts? So we got 10,000 clicks, 189 add to carts. Okay, 63,000 clicks, 62 add to carts. Okay, 24,000 clicks, 79 add to carts. All right, so kind of, all over the board, but a lot of clicks, tens of thousands for not a whole lot of conversion, not a lot of add to carts.
Right.
That's because that's the first interaction that they've had with that product, that add our brand, etc. It is like, hi, I'm John. Next thing out of the customer's mouth is going to be like, I'll buy one today.
Right.
We're skipping the middle part. So next we have to look at, now, how did the blue do? The blue
it's
is
about 1%. Thereabouts. It's about 1%. Well, maybe not the 24,000, but it's about 1%, which is about, that makes sense. Like we usually say, like 1% of your traffic is going to click and buy in most cases. This is an add to cart, so it's not entirely accurate, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like we're starting to see the trends analysis. Now, let's go down to the blues. Now, after they click, they look at the product, they've maybe added to cart. Most of them didn't, but you got a lot of understanding about what this is. So actually, let me, I did everyone a disservice. Let me back up one step. What has happened so far that we discussed is we've shown a UGC ad to fairly cold traffic. We say, hey, look at this dog. This dog was sick and now they're on the mend, and look at the before and after. They were kind of like, not that great. Now they're happy, healthy. And they said, wow, I love success stories about dogs being healthy. I wonder how that happened. I'm going to click. The other ones say, you know what? Great for the dog. Happy, fun story. I'm scrolling on. Great.
Yep.
So the people that click, they say, aha, that's the product. They're learning about it. And they say, that's interesting. Maybe I'll come back to this. I'll look at this later. They leave. Now, the second thing that happens most often, based on percentiles of user journeys, is we identify that the product ad has most often the second click because we have a lot warmer traffic. We also have a lot fewer clicks. Now, these fewer clicks, we'll highlight these the same that we're highlighting the green. Now we have 3,752 compared to 76. That's a vast difference, because if we look at 24,000 got us 79, only 3,000 got us almost 79. So you can see that these people are much more warmer.
Right.
And there's a lot fewer visits, but a lot higher add to carts. Look at the next one down, 3,900, very similar to the 3,700, 232 add to carts. Okay. Very interesting.
Yeah.
So now here's what's interesting. Now you got the Sid delivers more and you got the Sid with product red boost. Their second click, warm traffic, high amount of add to carts. Let's take one step deeper. I'm not going to X out of this. I'm just going to use use this version. So it's the same screen. I'm just not drawing on it. But what you'll notice here is those 232 in the Sid with red boost. If you click on this from a total add to cart, this is first click attributed, by the way, is the attribution model that we're using. You'll notice that in here, out of 232 total add to carts in this campaign, 182 were new. Second click, first add to cart. So we have first click, not that many add to carts. Second click, a lot of add to carts. Okay. Now let's see what the Sid with red boost is. The Sid with red boost Sid delivers more, 76. So now we have Sid delivers more, 276. Now let's look at these. 72 out of the 76 are new and only 4 re-engaged. Okay. So what this is telling us is that when they see the first 1 or 2 or 3 ads, there is a massive ton of clicks. Right. And then when they click again, there's a massive amount of add to carts. We look at our essentially, there it is, NCAC. On the Sid delivers more and the Sid with red boost is 393, 292. On the Tim dog, it's 636. Well, on the Tim dog, which I don't know where Tim dog is. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We did end up pausing that one. I'm looking at the last 30 days and I'm querying the last 14 days. Let's just move on to the ones that have ads. We paused Tim and Paul. So Clarence here, for example. Let's just find Clarence. So there's Clarence right here. Yep. Clarence has got a 276 NCAC and the Sid with red boost is 292. So Clarence is 301. Sid with red boost 664. Wow, that's very different, isn't it?
Sure is.
Yes. Now, if we were to go ahead and say, you know what, I just don't think that Sid with red boost is working at 664. Remember, the Meta Andromeda engine is last click. Yeah. We're importing, though, first click conversions. So when you import first click and it says, hey, this is the amount of people that did the last click, it means that this is getting the highest amount of add to carts per click, but it is not where they started or where they necessarily ended. Okay, that's fine. But I'm not going to take one of my biggest add to cart performers and shut it off because the CPA isn't there.
If you didn't have Tier 11 Data Suite, plug Tier 11 Data Suite, of course, you would have made a very large error.
We probably would have paused it. Yeah. But if all signs pointed to, well, yes, we would. This would absolutely be something that we would end up pausing, but this is something that we're going to be continuing on with further.
Right. So it's early days anyway. Like the ad's only been live, what, a day or two?
Yeah. It was been live 3 days. Now, what's the first thing? I launched it in the first 3 days and it doesn't look that good. So I paused it. Every freaking person. I launched the campaign or launched that, and in the first week I started hacking off ads that are having low CPA or high CPA. Again,
the old way of doing things.
Exactly. You cannot do it that way. This is a crazy ad CAC, $857. I'm like, I don't care. That's delivering the highest amount of ad cards we've ever seen. That isn't a fantastic ad. Majority of them are cold. 3/4 of them are cold. I would have taken 200 cold add to carts and just chucked out the window because Andromeda didn't say a last thing that they ever did ever to the website was there. I don't care. Just like how I also don't look at the first thing that they ever did ever.
Starve the ponies, feed the stallions is no longer in existence, ladies and gentlemen.
This is no longer in our control, now only in our understanding.
If you didn't have Tier 11 Data Suite here, though, if you were just looking at it, you would have paused it, but your global NCAC inside Ads Manager actually looks good. If I recall what the goal is, it's 279 for that entire ad set.
Yeah, we want to be under 300.
We want to be under 300. So it's good. Technically, like you would be inclined to pause the $664 one.
Literally everything else looks better but that one.
Yeah. But in the new Andromeda days, even if you don't have Tier 11 Data Suite, obviously you can do either the first click or last click. Everything here is last click. Okay. You've got this queued up for first click. So you know that click on that $664 spend is actually worthwhile because you can actually physically see it. You can measure it. The NCAC is different inside Data Suite than it is inside Meta. But if you didn't have the luxury of the Tier 11 Data Suite, your recommendation would still be like, who cares about what the individual ads are doing as long as the CPA is where you need it to be if you're going on a CPA model inside Ads Manager. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Right. And that's simply because people believe that everyone, for some reason, I don't understand it. Like, it's the biggest cognitive dissonance that I've ever seen in my entire lifetime. And I don't say that lightly.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty counterintuitive.
Everyone would unanimously agree since the 80s in direct mail. How many times do you need to be engaged with an ad before you convert? And then we measure it by, nope, unless it's one, I don't want it. It's like,
no, I want the 1 in 100 that are going to click buy. It's going to be less than 1 in 100, really. Yeah.
It's like, so you mean people don't consider their purchases? No one does.
No one does.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, that's not reality, so I guess I'll just do something different. Like, that's what's funny is, like, people are like, is that ad getting all of my traffic and all the conversions ever in the history of time? If not, I just shut it off. It's like, cool, then close your business.
Yeah. So you might as well just like forget about advertising just in general.
But exactly. If you think about it this way, if you walk into a store and you say, hey, I need some help. I'd like to know where the toilet paper is. And they hold your hand, they bring over to the toilet paper and you're like, wow, I'm going to buy this toilet paper. But you buy it at the counter. Did the person that helped you find it, were they useless? No, that's your middle click. That's your add to cart. They didn't buy from the person that showed them the product. Yes, that's not supposed to happen that way. Wait till they go to checkout.
That's if you're a person that actually asks for help. I don't ever ask for this. Is my wife off to no end. It's like, just ask somebody. I'm like, no, I'll figure it out.
I know. I get something on furniture. I'm like, opening it up. I'm like, instructions. Okay, don't need those. I'm like, I got spare parts before I started. Don't need those.
That's the first thing that goes. It's like, neither one of us follow instructions. That's why we're entrepreneurs. Seriously.
I know. I'm like, that's your way of doing things. I'm going to do it better.
I'll figure it out. Although I did put together a bookcase for my wife like a month ago, and I did that, and it turned out it was a total disaster. I had to go find, like, where are those goddamn directions?
I put together a dresser, and the right panel was flipped the opposite way, so it was in the holes were on the right side, the holes on the left. I'm like, I know I'll notice.
Oh my God.
It's been standing for 3 years. It's good enough.
That's good enough. That's good enough. It hasn't fallen down, hasn't hurt anybody, hasn't fallen over when you're now like any of that. So
exactly. And here's the fun part. Remember how I was saying I was scaling up? And now what you just saw here in the last 14 days was this visual here, going from a $54,000 a week in ad spend to a $66,000 a week in ad spend to $110,000 a week in ad spend. So I added $55,000 in ad spend over the last 2 weeks. Awesome. And that's what we saw inside of here. It's like, it's the last 14 days over 14 days. So I'm measuring like 3 points a time. This screen, you're comparing 4 points a time, last two compared to the first two. Okay. And that's where there's $72,000 added. Now, according to this, we're basically just kind of like hovering. Like it's 230, 279, like it was going up. and then it did actually come back down, and that's what you'll see here.
Okay.
So if I look at these date range going from 55 to 110, what we'll see here is that our NCAC went from 212, it did go up to 270, then fell back down to 243. So I basically pay about $30 more per new customer after doubling my ad spend. And because we're using first click CAPI imports, how much is it costing us? About 48. We're $18 off after a 50G increase, but this is also measuring last 14 days. It's measuring the last 3 weeks instead of the last 4 weeks comparative to each other. So it's okay to be $18 off because we know that it went up and then it came back down. What you're seeing here is a culmination of it going up and coming back down, just not as much. So it actually evens out perfectly. So am I looking at the ads? Yes, of course. Am I judging one versus the other? That's asinine. That is ignorant. That in my opinion, just stop media buying because So that's the part. So that's what we're looking at is.
But that's what everybody does, John.
Right. And it's almost like if you should do this, like if you just said, hey, what did we increase? We increased we doubled this last 2 weeks. Yeah. Cool. What happened? NCAC is still below goal. All right. Keep going. Thanks, everybody.
Keep going.
That's pretty much it. And cool. There's 72 more new customers. Now, if I didn't have Data Suite, I would have killed my middle, which absolutely would have hurt. If I lose 200 new add to carts a week, I'm totally feeling that. Now, could it be picked up by another ad? Perhaps. Could the other ad do better? Perhaps. But you know what this is telling me right here is follow Andromeda, which means, is it a winner? Yes. In my book, when I don't measure by just last click CPA, otherwise my dumbass would be just scaling brand campaigns all the time because hey, it's last click. It looks like great.
Last click. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. This is where they ended. Let's just end more. Cool. Should we start more? No. Don't just kill the starters. Let's just end more there. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
So when we look at this, is it a winner? Absolutely. 4,000 add to carts, 4,000 clicks, 232 add to carts is the biggest add to cart. It's just literally more than a quarter of all of my add to carts.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
That's your bottom of funnel ad right there.
That's like kind of middle bottom. That is a winner for sure. You know what we're going to do? We're going to create 5 new versions of these. So normally it's like, oh, that one has a $600 NCAC. Let's pause it. I'm like, I need 5 more of those. That's the difference that we're dealing with now.
It's really a whole new world, isn't it?
It is. It's just like Aladdin said, 1996.
Yeah. By the way, the graphic that John showed, I did throw in the Facebook, the Meta engineering page. Read that one, ladies and gentlemen. See if you understand it. But it basically explains what this whole thing is in like very intricate technical knowledge. So we're not making this stuff up. The problem is that when Meta rolled this out, they didn't tell anybody how to use it. There was no instruction manual. So
I couldn't be happier too. It's so beautiful.
You wouldn't have read it. You wouldn't have read it.
I know. It's like, hey, we made an update. I'm like, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And what's funny is you want to know the funniest thing in the world, and this is actually true. Let me go back to here. Okay, I have proof. I'm going to go back to this date range here, and I'm going to sort.
This is November. What? Right after like Black Friday, Cyber Monday?
It's November 29th to December 2nd. And if you look at this here, if we look at this date range here of this campaign that started on November 25th, we said, hey, for some reason on first click CAPI imports, when we just scale up really quickly and we throw all of our and here's the one I was spending 26 grand on. And we go into here and we say, hey, you know, when we use one campaign and we use one ad set and we throw all of our ads in there, this thing actually works really, really well. This is in end of November. And then right afterwards, end of November, December 2nd, like, a month afterwards, it's like, have you seen Andromeda? I'm like, holy shit. So I was on it before it came out.
That's awesome.
This isn't something that we're like, oh my God, we're like jumping on the bandwagon. We were doing this before it was even released.
If I recall, the only ads that you were using in this ad account were just UGC. They were just like images of dogs. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Right? Yeah, and I actually had a conversation, and you're all going to actually just hop into my email, and here we're just going to take a trip together in my email campaign. So this is there in my email. This was in October 6th, right? Yep. So this is 4 days ago. And that's what we're saying is here's my explanation of it. And you're not gonna be able to see this, but I'm just going to kind of read it off to myself for memory.
Yeah.
I said,
reading John's email, by the way. We're reading John's email.
Reading my email box. I'm like, an interesting phenomenon with that creative types. I do think UGC is the best type for us with volume. People love seeing happy dogs. That's very, very common. Like, no one hates to see a dog that was sick coming back to life. Everyone unanimously loves that. People very much get confirmation of their decision and are also introduced to us with the same UGC ad. But I do.
I would hide your email, by the way, unless you want to get deluged with spam.
Oh, it's too late.
Oh, if you, I was gonna say, if you all click on that Jana Soleil, that thing's dead and gone for like the last 6 months now. But yeah, so here's what's funny is I'm like an interesting phenomenon. I do think UGC is the best type. People very much get confirmation of the decision and are also introduced to us with the same UGC ad. But I do see better performance of our non-UGC ads. They've been consistently $50 to $100 cheaper with NCAC, not CPA and platform NCAC.
NCAC.
Now, what I said here is I would attribute, no pun intended, this to us introducing the product behind the story. People love dogs. They love dogs coming back from illness and love happy endings. Those are great ads. But I do think we tell the other side of the story, product highlight ads. So what we're seeing in the data flow is, hey, this dog was sick and now they're brought back to life. The people that didn't click it don't know why that dog is really happy. So we said, hey, remember that ad that you saw and you've been seeing a few of them because we have like 25 UGCs running at once? Like, this is the product that did it and why. And all of a sudden people are like, oh, okay, bye. Or at least they add the carts. So while it works for us, capture their attention with happy, healthy puppies, then introduce the product afterwards, that seems to flow. Well, I could double the ad spend without hurting myself.
That was a question I had on another client call this week. They said, well, wait a second. Are you guys making ads in this new Andromeda thing without any calls to action? Like everything is a website conversion ad technically, and it's all going to have either learn more, shop now, buy now, whatever it is. But in top of funnel ads, like you're not really pushing for conversion, or are you? Like, what's the methodology there, especially when it comes to, the visual itself as well as the ad copy that's in the ad?
Yeah, the story does most of the ad copy.
Okay.
So unfortunately, might not be able to, obviously I can't even see this, but it'll say like 30 days ago, I went to a cancer specialist. So it's a story about the dog.
It's the story. Now, okay.
And then the call to action is learn more. This restored my dog's health. So it's almost like an advertorial.
So it's not really like there's no link in the copy, no call to action in the copy. The copy is just reinforcing sort of the story that they're seeing visually through the UGC.
Yeah. Really, like we do have like heavy.
Oh, you do have it. Okay.
Yeah. We have it. This thing gets no clicks.
Okay.
This gets all the clicks to learn more, but it is something where it's like this dog was sick and now they're back to health. And it's like, cool. If you have a sick dog, you're capturing attention. You may not click, but you're capturing attention, especially if it's around the same illness. So it's every single, I mean, you were in this space like, many, many moons ago. It's the healthcare. It's like, do you wake up tired? You're like, oh my God, yes, I do. Yeah. It's like introducing sleep. You're like, wow.
That's basically,
yeah. And here's the pain point. Unfortunately, the pain point, we address it by telling success stories that had similar pain points in the past than you may have right now. And that's how we're connecting with our market, but we're doing it with dog stories that are coming back to life. They're coming back to health. So what does everyone love? A happy, healthy dog. What does everybody not love? You want to buy immunity pills for your dog? Not really.
Yeah.
But I will if you connect those dots for me. I think you Andromeda.
For sure. You want the after state. You don't necessarily want the feature. You don't want the product itself. You just want the after state. So that's really what you're talking about here.
Yeah.
Way back when, there was a strategy that we deployed, it was like 3-4 years ago, before obviously Andromeda and all the stuff that's going on right now, as a video view to conversion campaign, which was like, all right, get your ideal audience, just get them to view a video and then retarget those video views 3 seconds, 15 seconds, 50%, whatever it happens to be, to conversion campaigns. It never really worked because it was always like the objective was wrong because they were viewing the video, but they had no intent. And even back 3-4 years ago, when Meta was not what it is today with the Andromeda update, it still had very separate types of, individuals within an interest grouping. In this case, obviously, we're now using open targeting, but it's like you're still using website conversion campaigns. You're showing them an ad similar to how we used to do it with those video view campaigns to conversion campaigns, which never really worked.
Right.
I don't really know why, but it really was because Meta had identified, these are video watchers, but they're not necessarily converters.
You're part of that in 2017, 2018. That's when it really started to hit, where it's like, I want link clicks, and you're like, you're getting all the clicks. Like, did I get a sale? You're like, didn't no. You got all the clicks. Exactly.
You get all the clickers.
Yeah.
But in this, it's advantage plus sales, and it's like sale, like that is the objective. So even if they're not clicking, there's still potential for them to convert because Meta has data on all of us. They know our proclivity to watch, click, purchase on the platform itself, and they understand all that sort of behind it. So that old strategy, or like the clicks first, like remember way back when Meta first Facebook came out with ads in the newsfeed, it was you do clicks campaigns and then you do conversion campaigns.
Right. You warm them up, get them familiar, and then try to convert them. Yeah.
We were trying to do all of this to like expand the market.
Yeah, it's like an old school feeder strategy. Basically, it was a feeder strategy. And
we're not doing anything different here. We're just rolling through the same thing for the last 30 years, just with different mediums.
Yeah, but there's a sales intent with these audiences that even if you're going open targeting, like you're doing here, I assume there's no targeting. There's just geography, correct?
Yeah. There's no targeting, inclusion, exclusions. We
No
gave that
targeting.
months ago.
No targeting. That's crazy. Who was I talking to this past week? Actually, a woman who's in our space. I was like, "Oh, how much targeting are you using?" Well, she does regional campaigns. She's like, "That's the only targeting I'm doing. Like, if I'm trying to fill up, a concert in Denver, I'm just doing like, the Colorado market. That's all.
Yeah.
But that's all my targeting."
Here's what's fun too is, and I don't want anybody to think like this is like, yeah, right, BS, that kind of stuff. If we look at this one campaign that we've doubled 93%, 71% more new customers last 14 days. If I go into edit this ad set, I can still suggest an audience. My suggestion was like, hey, let's take out the 18 to 24-year-olds, because if it helps, that's great. Maybe not a lot of 18-year-old kids that have dogs who are looking about their immunity. Right. Other than that, I'm like, that's so one for sure. I would say I would rather not. If I get it, fine. I still do get 18 to 24-year-olds. It happens all the time. It's still 15% of my traffic. Would it have been 30? Maybe. But it is trying to snuff it. So that's as far as we've taken our targeting. It was, please know if you can. Yeah. Thank you.
That's interesting. I mean, yeah. I think even if you did have just 18 to 65, what is it, 64 plus, 65 plus?
Fine.
Like Meta would figure it out eventually.
We've probably would have gotten clicks, maybe gotten a few sales, maybe they're more expensive, and then it would have just been like, as soon as the cost cap hop on, they're dead and gone anyway.
Right.
So, right. And I think that's a really interesting part about this whole thing is that like your creative does the targeting. Like that's the reason why if you launch multiple campaigns, there's a massive amount of overlap if you have the same ad. It just makes it's the creative doing the targeting, not you. It's actually AI interpreting your ad and then going and finding its own audience on its own. But I have different campaigns. Does the AI care? No. Does the creative care? No. But my ad set is spent. Does the AI care? No. Does the ad care? No. Like that's the thing too, is like we can ask it to try to avoid stuff. It wasn't going to be a pass or fail dependent on it. Like it would be where people are like, well, I'm excluding all of my existing customers. Like that's the wish list.
They're saying, thank you very much for showing us who to show it to.
I know that was your that was on your Christmas list this year, but let me tell you something about Santa Claus.
It's a little
she may not be.
All you kids just
that's why I was like, you know what? Hey, that's why I was like, let me tell you.
We don't want it to
exactly.
We don't want any kids watching this show. Anyway, 25 plus, I think, is our audience here on the.
That was the only suggestion that we had, and which again, it's a suggestion. It's not a law. It's not a rule. It's not an inclusion. It's not an exclusion. It's a suggestion. Like that tells you how much your targeting is taken seriously. It says, oh, thanks. We'll take it into consideration if you're right.
Have you ever seen a strategy like this or a methodology like this expand a marketplace? Like you're in the, for this example that we've used dozens and dozens of times here on the Ad Lab is in the dog space. I mean, it's like dog owners come in and out because obviously there's dogs that are going to be sick and then they're going to get well. And then there's like this constant infusion into the market and a rotation in the market. Mm-hmm. But have you ever seen anything like this expand a market? Because like a couple clients, like the client we were just on a call with, he's like, I feel like we've sort of tapped out our market right now. They're in the dating niche. It's like you will never tap out that market, really. And this allows you. Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, like you're not scaling. You're not spending $1 million a day in this market. But I mean, I know in some other markets, you're doing hundreds of thousands of dollars a day. So where is that? Like if somebody feels like they have tapped out their market, is Andromeda the solution, or is it solution with, a disclaimer there?
Yeah, we have that one client that spends $250,000 a day. Yeah, we've kind of tapped out. A lot of people that I've talked to have heard about the brand. Now, have they bought it? Have they tried it? No, they've heard about it. Okay. So at that point in time, it's, well, maybe we didn't hit the right pain point, hook, and offer. So if you are like, yeah, it's like, hey, have you heard of, Mountain Dew? You're like, I've heard of it. You're like, have you tried Mountain Dew? No. Well, you're still my targeting then. I just haven't convinced you yet.
Right.
So my question is, have they tapped out everybody that's looking to date and are on Facebook as an example? The answer might be yes. They have 100 million impressions, and there's approximately maybe 100 million people that could date. Maybe some of them are married, but they still want to date. There's 100 million people. Okay, cool. Now, have you gotten a click from everyone? No. There's still work to be done technically. I mean, you're not talking about exponential growth after that, but 5% of 100 million is still a big leap up. So that's my question. I guess I would say is, unless you say, hey, we've tapped out our market because we've done every ad possible, every hook, every pain point, every offer, every product development. We've even increased our effectiveness of our product/service 20x this last 2 years, and still no one cares. Okay, once you can prove that, then yes. I don't think that that's happened yet, because otherwise eHarmony would still be like, I can't get Meta to spend.
Yeah, right. But there is probably a top level of spend that you can spend there.
Yeah,
whatever it is.
Plateau. Yeah, you're going to plateau, but you could still, but once you reach that level, a small blip up could still be $5 million net profit that year.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I do think, I mean, you're answering the question, but which is no market is, limitless. However, this is, as far as I have seen, one of the best ways and one of the best methodologies to expand the market and to deliver your brand message to a wider audience and expand your personal TAM for your brand.
Yep.
Unlike anything else that I've ever seen in this platform, and it certainly seems like that is the case. I mean, obviously every market has its limits, but in the dating market, they're spending $100,000 a month. It's like, I know for a fact, you could probably spend 5-10x that, is my guess, in their specific niche, but you have to obviously do the research. But Andromeda's, this update has allowed a lot of businesses to be able to expand far beyond what they thought using more traditional means. That's for sure.
I haven't tapped out a market yet. Like, we're still growing with that company that spends $250K a day. Like, it's growth. It's small. It's short. It's growth. But we're also pretty much just in Meta. So that's the other part too, is like, we haven't actually reached into like the TikTok, I'm not going to go to App 11. That's just apps remarketing, but TikTok and, Snapchat would be very small. TV, CTV, we haven't done that yet. Google is still just direct response, non-brand standard shopping. It works well. It can scale up. Programmatic. I mean, there's many other channels we can go into. Yes. Now, can we use Meta as our creative testing environment for all channels? Absolutely. I mean, now here's the thing that's funny. I was actually going to mention is Nike makes $4.94 billion annually. There's only $320 million humans in the United States, as an example. Now, I know Nike's global, but 320 million humans, they're not all Nike buyers. And a lot of them aren't even old enough to wear Nikes. If you think about the kids between the ages of 0 and 5, you take out probably like 30 million. They've been able to extract $15.44 per person alive in the United States every year. So it's fun. Even if you didn't buy their shoes, if you're like 320 million people, all gave them $15 every year, that's their gross profit. So it's massive. And it's like, can you wear shoes? Yes. Well, if you're interested in dating, there's probably 1/3 of that, but where's your 2 billion this year? Right. So I would say I don't really see many people that have really saturated the market enough. Now, could they scale up a campaign in Meta until it hits a point? Absolutely. But we're talking about everything else in history. No, you can still do a lot more, but maybe you just don't want to, or that's not the goal of the company. It makes a lot of sense. But I have seen it grow in industry. Remember Nido?
Yeah.
Nido, it did. Like, that's something we still do. We do a lot of marketing for that agency, which is super niche. It's a Montessori marketing school. They still ran that out.
Schools.
That's 16,000, and it's still growing, but it is expanding the way that schools are thinking about their business. So it is growing a market, because right there, we didn't really have a bunch of 40, 50-year-old female school owners who have never touched a computer in a marketing sense. We didn't have a lot of those people knocking on our door saying, I'd like this, but now we do. So it did grow a market. For sure. Yeah, I would say it's absolutely possible. Now, the other thing I was going to think about, though, is you made a point earlier where you have, the clicks versus the conversions. I was one of the earlier adopters into saying it looks like Google and Meta are moving towards, do you want traffic or do you want conversions? Like, you can only choose one or the other.
Exactly. Yeah.
Those are two different profiles on people. So can you grow a market if you're only doing converters? No, because they have to say, I'm in the market. And now I'm in your targeting. Right. The non-market, those are things like the feeder strategy to run view content. Those feeder campaigns that we run view contents, that will grow a market. Now, you need both of those to continue to scale because you're feeding yourself your own users. But yes, like if I'm doing a conversion campaign, it's my assumption that Google has people that they have already indicated that they're in the market or would be in the market or taking action for something like this that could be in the market soon. And I'm saturating that entire market. And so far, we're spending like $600,000 a month and we still haven't hit our ceiling yet. So yeah, there's a still pretty good amount of room to grow.
Have you looked at your reach on those campaigns, like in the dog space? They're like global reach, like unique reach.
Oh,
reach is sort of relative because like there's people that are coming in and out of that market. Obviously, there are dogs that are becoming less sick and more sick as the market expands. So looking at that would be an interesting thing.
Yeah. Like this one here is a small company. This is like the Venera one. I'm spending about $13K. This is only in Ireland and UK and starting to not hit saturation, but starting to kind of fatigue a bit. We can kind of see that the ads that we started with are scaling up a little bit in spend, but we're starting to see like a little bit of a softening lately. So we're going to do a creative iteration. That's the next thing. So like it's relative, I think, to the location of the audience.
Just might mean you need a creative refresh.
For sure. I mean, like now a creative refresh means like, hey, we burned through all the people that we think need to see this ad. And now it's heading on the other side. Now, could it expand further? Yeah, absolutely. Did it know it could? Probably not. It needs more data. But when we do the creative refresh, yes. But we hit 12 million people a month in terms of impressions. Reach is 4 million. So, I mean, when you're spending 329,000 and you're getting 1/100th of the population in the United States, not too bad. So there's still a lot of room to grow.
There's a lot of room to grow. All right. Hope you enjoyed this week's episode. This is obviously one of the many, many episodes that we've done on the Ad Lab, which we do each Friday, 2:30 Eastern on most days, unless John and I have some sort of personal conflict. But we've done 59 shows of this, and most of it has been on the Meta Andromeda update. So for those of you who are just sick and tired of just trying to figure this out on your own, like I mentioned in the start of the show here today, we've got a special offer for you, which you can head on over to tier11.com/apply and get today. We're only giving away 11 of these. And once again, it's by the Creative Diversification Package, the package that we've been talking about here for months and have perfected with the 10 different ad types, which we've shown on this show numerous times, but also we've talked about on the Ad Lab Live. You get the Creative Diversification Package, which is the key to success with Meta Andromeda right now, but you will get your media buying and the Tier 11 data suite for free. Yes, it is a buy one, get two free offer. We are only offering this through the end of this year, and you get first access to it here at Perpetual Traffic because you've been listening and watching these shows and you understand it. And I know this stuff ain't easy, but our team has perfected it thanks to John's guidance as our chief strategist over at Tier 11. So head on over to tier11.com/apply, fill in the application, buy the Creative Diversification Package, but get the media buying and the Tier 11 data suite absolutely for free. On behalf of my amazing co-host, Lauren E. Petrullo and John Moran, thank you so much for listening, everyone. Of course, leave a rating and review if you like this podcast here. It gets us out to a larger, wider audience, teaches people how to do this stuff the right way through metrics that matter and growth that scales. So until the next show, see ya.